Greetings everyone, here's Lodric and this is a game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition, and this is my play by email match against KilRoy. He's a commander of the Allied Forces and for me it is the Empire of Japan. This is scenario 1 on the new beta patch, or version 27, so additional bases and some changes to the map and shifting of resources and industry to make it a little more realistic, and maybe also give a new gameplay. Last turn I think I took Singapore, so my campaign in Malaya, Singapore and Philippines is all over. My forces are at the gate to Rangoon. Borneo is also more or less secured. I think Tarakan is missing. Next big operation is normally against maybe New Caledonian and Java. Plus, of course, Burma must be secured. So my force is already jumping from Miri to Brunei. I simply pack my units again and then make a next amphibious assault, not walking in the jungles. This needs far too long time. And also more landings in the Central Pacific island chain. Nothing too special. I don't expect here much resistance. The main forces are destroyed on Mindanao and Luzon. Nothing left really. I'm still trying to intercept the enemy shippings, but east coast of Australia, and now I also can clean the port of Singapore. So before I can use the port, I must clean the mines. So same Hawaii still. I try to mess up with KilRoy's shippings. Most of the time it have no real impact. And my losses of rowboats are very high. Compared to the first match with KilRoy, my sub losses are really skyrocketing. KilRoy really gets much better grip of how to handle subs. But to be fair, I think I lost 3 or 4 subs against mine, so he was skilled enough to mine his ports fast enough. And this kills my subs. It's also anti-sub tactic to mine your own ports to make sure that there's no, or any sub is coming in, is a high chance to hit this mine and then sunk. So sweeping from Palm Bang over Batavia, Dutch Buffaloes, normally no match. High numbers of destroyed airplanes, still some operation losses maybe for BBC. And my long-range bombers trying to sink some cargo ships. I'm not sure if I'm out of torpedoes or maybe the commander was not able to load them. At least the one big hit. 250 kilos. Some damage at least. Maybe not enough to sink a ship. More ground attack strikes. Partly very successful. This is here the jungle. No, this is not more jungle. This is, I think, the base, so I choose to attack here. The force was before here in the jungles. Now they are here in the official hex, this base. And I think this is simply more easy to damage because there's a base and the pilots roughly know where's the enemy. Yeah. many small airstrikes, and this time my bomber is getting intercepted by Hawks and Russian I-15s, and I'm not sure if my Sonia really can, but you can see that the Japanese pilots are, I mean, the rear gunner with a small 7.7mm gun can at least damage the I-15. And maybe I don't lose the pilot or airframe directly. So many of my aircrafts are getting damaged. I can still create a lot of for this kind of airstrike power. It was a lot of damage, but maybe there are some ops losses. Second wave, the Ki-48 is normally a faster bomber, so I don't think that the I-15 can intercept. No. And again, many disabled units for KilRoy. Disabled is not destroyed, but it consumes supplies. And now after the Burma Road is cut, the supply situation in China will simply be more worse over time. Especially if I later can take Xi'an and Lenzhou maybe, then the heavy industry of the north is also blocked. Oops, a little too fast. So, next strike. And this time, so you can see there's the commander, I don't know if it's I think someone is leading this airstrike, and then you must make this dice roll check. Even if you have torpedoes, you must always make the check against the commander if the commander is skillful enough to let the planes load with torpedoes. So this is now a clear kill. So the cargo ship go down, the AVP go down, and the yacht patrol, so the anti-submarine ship, survive. There was some troops on board, maybe some sport base force stuff, whatever. Maybe this is the evacuation. Maybe KilRoy tried to evacuate the stuff from Ocean Island. Nauru Island, I think Ocean Island, they both have a very small base force. Maybe this is this equipment KilRoy tried to save. At least they are no threat more for me, but not. These islands normally have resources, you can take these resources, but they are so far away from the mainland and off of any normal supply road, so I don't really care them too much. Maybe I'll take them later only to prevent any scout airplanes to operate from this location. KilRoy's Russian Chinese bomber fleet attack again. My Oscar's trying to stop them. But again, if you don't have your airplanes in the same hex, the efficiency is not so great. Still, I damage here many of these incoming bombers. And no losses for me at the end. Same situation. Here a little more successful. Maybe it's also partly because it's a DP3. I think this is really maybe a not so good airframe. All my pilots are better. So, my forces are attacking in Nanyang. There is some Chinese block force, and they can hold the town for at least one more day. But this was a pure, I think, tank attack. So I lost here some vehicles, but the infantry is already dying. So the Chinese catching the bullets with their life and then falling dead to the ground. And the general still can say, I hold the town, I hold the town. How many bodies are left to use for this? So I also catch up with some of this retreating Chinese bigger army. I find it here, the HQ and one corps, my 12th army. This is normally the main strength here in the central area. Casualties disabled, similar, but for KilRoy there are also many destroyed squads. So the one corps is destroyed, not completely destroyed, but out of action, and the HQ is I think also low. And now finally maybe I can break here the... No, still not. I take the fort down. Again, high casualties on both sides, equally numbers. So this is in favor for KilRoy, but I still have the numbers in the long run. I can reactivate my disabled units, and for the Chinese without supplies it will be hard. And yeah, now with the new map you have your many dot bases, you must take them one by one. So this is the empty dot base. Pushing, can hold again. This time my attack failed, but even if I don't take the base, the British are running out of attack power. Good. So no real defeat on my side. Smaller successes around the map. No major engagement. But day by day my position in China getting stronger and better. This new map really slows down all the build-up of the Japanese army in China, because there are not so many bridges and you cannot rail everything completely around. You must, if you cross the main rivers, you must always make slow crossing. You can see here, slow crossing, slow crossing, slow crossing, slow crossing. So it's always cost you a lot of time, and no railing, only walking. Anyway, yeah, losses again high for KilRoy. Mainly the Buffalo's attack was this was over Batavia, so my zeros was much more successful than I thought first. And killing some other strike aircraft in China, and only small losses on my side. Light bomber and scout airplane. So one of these airstrike long range torpedo bombers I use had maybe simply engine failure or flag damage and then written off. I lost one pilot killed and one wounded. Okay, very small losses. Ship sunk. Official only these two ships. Maybe there was one more cargo ship, but I'm not more so sure. But this AVP, I mean, this is really only a third class destroyer or whatever you want to call it, and a standard cargo ship. I think this is really a very typical long range standard cargo ship. Nothing really more. Thousands are maybe built by the Allies in this war soon or later. Good. You can see that the main issue I have really now in China is not so much the Chinese, it is only that everywhere are missing of supplies. And I ship already non-stop supplies from Japan to China, more or less I think 1,000 supplies per day roughly is maybe the rate of shipping. But there's so high demand everywhere, and it needs weeks before I can fulfill this. I also cannot ship really too many supplies at once. I have here not really enough supplies, and I'm still in build up of my engine factory. So if I take here 40 or 50,000 supplies completely out of Japan at once, I can maybe feed China faster, but then my industry in Japan will collapse, and then I win nothing. To lose here 1 or 2 weeks with maximum efficiency in China, ground war, I pay better this kind of price and keep my build-up stable in Japan and have my engine bonus as soon as possible. I simply care more. But this is choice of the player. At least if the player understands what he's doing, then he can have a choice. And again, this is scenario 1. If you play scenario 2, you don't really care this, then this is much easier. So my first forces arrived already in Rangoon, more or less all, but there's still some struggler coming behind. So, but I hope I can take before in the next week. Maybe I must make 1 or 2 attacks on Rangoon. The 15th army is now here with not all of this, but with some Thai support units. No, they're not so strong to attack, but I hope I can simply use them like I let the Thai guys attack first in the morning and keep the British busy up to noontime, and then if they want to drink tea, the Japanese attack. And hopefully then I also don't must really pay too much attention to my allies in Thailand. If they have lost some guys, I would simply say be grateful that you can take part of this great operation and don't cry so much. Don't be weak. Okay, yeah, Singapore, I was not sure if I showed this. So the base itself had some damage because I also bombed it. But the industry is okay. I think 1/3 is roughly damaged. You can see here the resources, or it's like more like 25%. So 25% damage, I would say, is full acceptable and must be tolerated. Sometimes you are lucky and you have no damage, but this is end of the line. And if I understand it right, if units cannot retreat and they will surrender, then there is simply a higher possibility that the base gets destroyed and blown up, because this is more or less like fighting up to the last moment and take everything down with you. What is of course not realistic with the British, because they always surrender immediately. Tobruk, Singapore, everywhere around the map. If there was once a real battle where they cannot rely on others, they will always give up. Sudan. Remember Sudan, how easily the British give up, even against very underdeveloped forces. Catching up here some bases in the Philippines, no big deal. This is also only catching here some base forces. There's nothing really strong. The next build up after Singapore is cleaned and free of mines, I must get this army normally to Batavia and take West Java with my Malayan army, and at the same time I'm preparing here to get ships in to Manila and prepare the army to go to East Java to take Surabaya. You can already see that my army is more or less, or my convoy is already arriving close to Java, so I will land here next turn if I'm correct, and try to take Surabaya as soon as possible, because Surabaya is now the shipyard. Every sub is damaged must be normally repaired here if it's major damage after Singapore fall now. And so Surabaya is much more important compared to Batavia. Batavia is of course always a threat, airstrikes against Palembang. Yeah. Good, don't make it too complicated. So we had here a lot of battles, many British, American, Australian ships sunk here, but also some Japanese, of course, some. My subs trying to find something, but not so successful these days. And this is his retreating task force. You can see again, there's still ships sighting 3, but this is because the sighting was before the airstrike, so there are only one ship left. But again, keep in mind, if your airstrike is in the afternoon, your recon and sighting is first and then the airstrike. So there are not more 3 ships, there are only 1 ship left. But it's correct, it's a patrol. Nothing else to see here. Empty ocean everywhere. Good, thank you all, see you next time, take care, bye bye.